Okay, hello and welcome to this webinar on extended producer responsibility on textiles. My name is Gro Haram and I work for NF&TA, a national cluster for the fashion and textile industry in Norway. This webinar is the last in a series of 4 to learn more about EPR for textiles and part of a project looking at a potential EPR for textiles in Norway. In previous webinars, we have been lucky to have Sweden and France present to us, and you can watch the recordings on our YouTube channel. And today we are very excited to have Germany here with us. Our project, which is funded by Norwegian Retailers Environment Fund, Handelsmiljøfond, is nearing its end, but we hope to be able to continue to work in 2022. I'll soon leave the word to Petter Sundt, but just quickly, I'm going to show you the agenda for today's meeting. So we're going to have a presentation by Agnes and Sabine from Cyclos, followed by a Q&A where we can ask Agnes and Sabine questions. So if you have any questions you'd like to ask in the Q&A sessions, please raise your hand or write your question in the chat panel, whichever you prefer. After Q&A, we'll have a recap by Petter, followed by discussions in Norwegian. And I'll leave it to Petter to introduce our speakers today. And we're very excited that you're here and thank you for taking the time. You can just continue now, Petter, if you'd like.
Guten Morgen. Thank you, Gro. And it's my privilege to say a warm welcome to Agnes Bünemann and Sabine Bartnik, both from Cyclos GmbH in Osnabrück in Germany. Maybe some of you know Cyclos already. It's a well-known consultancy with a staff of 50 experts within waste management and environmental management, for example, within packaging, batteries, and with long experience and competence within EPR, extended producer responsibility. Both Agnes and Sabine are managing directors within the Cyclos group. Agnes is, as far as I understand, also the founder of the company back in the 90s, I think.
That's right.
Okay. For some time, Agnes has been hired in order to organize and assist as an EPR expert for the German initiative on textiles, the topic today, called in German Gemeinschaft für Textile Zukunft. In Norwegian, or in English, it indicates that the industry in Germany are joining forces in order to prepare and plan for the future and new strategies in legislation, both from EU and the new, what we call, traffic light government in Germany. Agnes, now we are looking forward to learn about what you are planning for in Germany. So please unmute, I think you have done it already, and open your presentation.
Yeah,
and the rest of us are unmuted and will listen carefully because it's a lot of information coming, and we can write down our questions in the chat. So please,
yes.
Agnes.
Thank you, Peter, and hello and good morning, everybody from Germany here. And thank you for the introduction now. Yes, we want to inform and discuss with you what happens in Germany. Since yesterday, we have a coalition contract that gives us hope that we will have a new government in about 2 weeks. And it is very, very interesting. And I had a view in what do they write about EPR of textiles? No, not for textiles, but we can find a lot of ideas about EPR in general, that they will increase it, that they will have more, do more for the design of all products, and so on and so on. And we are very Yes, it will be very interesting what will happen in the next 2 years. We are in a very, very interesting period here. Now I want to share our presentation with you. I do it now and want to talk about it. Wait one moment. On begin an. Can you see it now? It's fine, Peter? Yeah, okay. Yes, the German approach on circular textiles and EPR. My colleague Nicole Kösegi, you can see here our both names. She apologized for today. She wanted to come, but she will answer questions later if you write us an email. She has problems and cannot come. Okay, but we are working together on this field. Let me tell very short about the Gemeinschaft für Textile Zukunft. We can translate it with Association of Future of Textiles, and there are 7 members in this association or organization. It's headquartered in Berlin, and they are all companies. You see it here. I think you know maybe Zoex, TextAid, Berg Group. These are the very big players and big companies in our group. And Cyclos GmbH, we are an expert company, and we are responsible for the management of this group. It's not only organization, it's also technical support and so on. I shared this in four areas about Germany in the European comparison, current situation, stakeholder requirements, and next steps in Germany or what to do. Here you can see about the collection rate. I think most of you know it, but I want to show it again where we are, what we are talking about. Germany has the highest collection rate. It is here very, very traditional to collect and to sell second-hand clothes in Germany. This is on households clothes, and it's about 12.5 kilogram per inhabitant, and the collection rate is about 64%. If you compare it and set it into relation to the amount what the producer and importer and the retailer bring on the market. Yes, we don't have the highest consumption rate. It's in Italy, but in relation between consumption and collection, we have the highest collection rate. I want to compare the composition in Europe. You know it, or most of you. And in Germany, about 62% of the collected textiles, used textiles, are used for second-hand and reuse. And cleaning tools, we have a big rate of 14%, recycling 12%, and 8% thermal or other recycling, and a little bit disposal. If we compare it here, it's also reuse, a little bit less, but it's, yes, you can compare it. What is interesting here, that it is a self-financed system. I think like all over Europe except France, and only we asked our companies, and only 33% of the total collected amount is financing the whole cost of all. You will have revenues of the production, for example, of cleaning clothes, of cleaning tools, but these revenues doesn't cover the cost for collection, sorting, and the recycling process. And only this small amount, and here you have more and more revenues, cover the cost of all of this. And a little bit, it's like in the European, on the European level, that you see here, it's only 38% reuse, second-hand grade, and use second-hand grade covers cost of 65%. And so you can see that reuse is the main and the key target of after collection, and this is the only waste stream of all waste streams which are discussing for EPR from the households that has such a big reuse rate and the key target reuse. But there is a problem, and we see the problem with the increase of textile collection. The quality of these quantities will become lower. What is the current situation in Germany? In Germany, this is like municipality, but it can also be a group of municipalities, and they are responsible then. These are the public waste management authorities. We call it öffentlich-rechtlicher Entsorgungsträger, or ÖRE. It's one or more municipalities. And the legislation says that use textile from private households for disposal, you have to hand over to these municipalities, but there are exemptions, and you need not to hand it over if there are voluntary take-back systems, non-profit collection, commercial collection, or extended producer responsibility. These are exceptions from the obligation to hand over to the municipalities. And use textiles from B2B, business to business, like from the uniforms, uniform, or from other industrial use, you need not to hand over. There are several options available in Germany. The municipal collection, the commercial collection, the non-profit collection or charity collection, and voluntary take-back systems, as I explained before. And I want to show here, you can see that 44% is commercial collection, collected by the private industry, by private waste management collectors. They need to give this information to the municipality, and the municipality has to agree with this. Yeah? They have to write down, okay, we decide to take in place maybe 100 collection station in these and these streets. They have to give very, very concrete information about it. And then they are allowed to do it by themselves and not in the hand of the municipality till now. This is charity collection, and these 26% is collection in the hand of the municipalities, and only about 0.5% are voluntary take-back systems in the hand of retailers and in the houses of the retailers. The database, the official database in Germany is not so very good, because these green, charity and commercial collection, there is not really an obligation to do mass flow analysis and to send this to the municipalities till now, but we are discussing about this. Only this is very, very clear. These figures are very clear and very, yes, we have a very good database about this, but there is a study and they had questionnaires to about 1,000 different stakeholders, and therefore I think that these data are also very valid. We know that what they bring on the market in 2019 in Germany was about 1.5 million tons. Most of these, about 90%, are imported. Only a little part is produced in Germany. And the collection volume is about 1 million tons. There are some studies that it is a little bit higher, but we think about 1 million tons. And this is a collection rate nationwide. And you can see how we collect this. 75% is collected with depot containers. You can see it here. Only 20% are collected in recycling centers or civil amenity sites. It's the same. And collection bins at households, it's only pilot projects. And street collection, also only 2% from some charities. Only sometimes it's a collection action in twice a year, something like this. And in the depot containers, you can see it here. It is very, yes, good for reuse, because if it is, they emptying these depot containers, they can also look for the quality, that there is no contamination, and it has to be done manually and by hand, and not with machines. Then it's going normally to the sorting plants. The unsorted textiles, yes, we don't know exact how many percent are exported unsorted. The target is that all the textiles, the collected textiles, are sorted in Germany or in Europe, in Germany or the neighborhood states, yes, countries. And they are sorted, I think in Norway it will be the same, in first rough screening in 40 or 50 groups, and then a fine screening, where here only are sorted quantities which have market, and these are not yet waste, is not yet waste if it is sorted. But in Germany, it is waste when it is collected. Yeah. But when it is sorted and it has a market, then we have the end of waste discussion, of course, here too. But then it's clear it is not yet waste. Repair for reuse. It's estimated that over 50% remains in Germany for sorting here, and recycling in Europe It's only cleaning wraps, turn goods, and outside Europe. But after sorting in Germany, most are sold for use into European countries, Eastern European countries, or outside of Europe to Africa, South America, Asian countries. The EU Waste Framework Directive came into force, and the amendment of the German Circular Economy Act came in force in October 2020. And this says that from 1st January of 2025, textiles has to be collected separately, and the address is a public waste authority, the municipalities. But the regulation has no definition what is meant by textiles, no collecting targets, no other specific requirements. And if we will have a EPR system till then of course it is not longer addressed to the Public Waste Authority, it is addressed to the authority which will be named in a Textile Act. And therefore we started with this discussion and compare, okay, what will it mean? Municipal, paid by municipal fees, municipal collection. How can we save our very, very good collection system in the hand of the private industry? And compare this, okay, with the municipality responsibility. And therefore we are really in discussion with the producers and the retailers of textiles, because they also don't want it in the hand of the municipalities, or only in the hand of the municipalities. They have a good rule. We are discussing about this rule. Are they good collectors? But there is no sorting plant in a hand of a municipality here. Yes, and another area in our act is the expansion of product responsibility or producer responsibility. It's addressed to the producers, duty care for distributed products. We call it Obhutspflicht. It's a very difficult word in Germany. And it says that it is intended to prevent returns and new goods from before it is destroyed. Unsold goods are not allowed to be destroyed, even if they are coming back from the retailers or collected in stores. And this is also, I've seen it yesterday, it is also highlighted in the new contract, which is public yesterday between the parties of the new government, which will be, hopefully, the new government. Yes, stakeholder requirements from different perspectives in Germany. First, a view high resource requirements in the production of textiles. This is the challenge. Still relative low collection rates all over Europe, not in Germany. Maybe it can increase in Germany some percent, but if you have a view to Europe, and mainly linear models. And our group estimated what is necessary, what investment is required in the next years till 2025 if there is a collection obligation in all countries all over Europe. and they say, okay, we need a recycling capacity between 500,000 and 600,000 tons more, sorting capacity, you can see here. And in total, an invest is needed, most of it for recycling capacity, between 750 or maybe more, about 1.5 billion euro. It depends on if fiber to fiber recycling will increase, and it depends on the quota, the national quota, or if there are quotas from the European level that has to be fulfilled for recycling. We don't know yet. We are waiting for this European textile strategy, and this is, you know, expected in January or February next year. We will see. Here's poverty of the handling of used textiles. Of course, according to the future trends, we see we have to promote the consumption for sustainable products, improvement of the data situation. I told you the data situation, the official data collection is not perfect here. We are only, our knowledge is only based on studies, but not on official statistics. The collection amount and area coverage, yes, we have to prepare, and even if it is good to increase the collection, and this is the main thing, the recycling and the introduction of legal regulation on the use of recycled fibers from the post-consumer textiles. And we think this is needed on the EU level because our market is bigger than in Norway, for example, but it is very, very necessary that we will have the same definition and the same ideas about the use of post-consumer and the recycled content in the new product, in the new textiles. There is a study. This study is not yet published. This study is done by the German Federal Environmental Agency. Nicole, who is not available today, but she was working also on this study, and they made an evaluation of the effects of the various measures. And the result is the introduction of extended producer responsibility has the greatest positive effect in terms of the related criteria for promoting the textile circular economy and also offers solutions for all identified issues. These, we are waiting every day that it will be public, and that the federal agency, they were waiting for the new government, but we are sure now that these results will be basic for the next, or for politician decisions in Germany, because this federal agency, we think that they influence the decision very strong, and they say, okay, the main impact is extended producer responsibility. There were criteria about the design, about the fair share of the finance to use recycled content and to modulate fees and so on, and to say, okay, on the basis of these criteria, extended producer responsibility is prioritized, and number two is the implementation of further control measures, but this is difficult, voluntary commitments, fund models, textile levy, textile tax. It's on the last place, and say, okay, the effect will be small here. We see what and who is or no, all stakeholders or important stakeholders are discussing about this extended producer responsibility, and there is a joint statement between BDI, BVSE, our group, and NABU. BDI is the biggest waste management association. BVSE is a recycling association, very big. This is our group, and NABU is the biggest environmental group, and we together made one statement and say the statement, it was published 1 year ago and provides a basic for discussion. And here we had a big discussion now, and it is a basic also for the new parties and the new governments, because we met with all these persons in which will be responsible in the government now. And the basic of this statement is, okay, we need goals for reuse, for recycling of non-marketable and non-wearable textiles, guideline for organization and responsibility in a new overall system, guidelines for documentation, monitoring and control mechanism, development and joint strategy, demands for education, demands for funding, for research and development and funding, the mechanism for the additional financing needs for collection, sorting and reuse, recycling. So here it will be the most need for financing in the recycling field. And these form the basic for the realization of all requirements. If there is no funding base, then it is difficult to fulfill it. And there is another stakeholder who is involved. It is our the ministers from our federal states in Germany. And all environmental ministers. There was in the 23rd of April a meeting, and the result is that they say all ministers, they request the federal government to intensify the integrated exchange with the textile manufacturers in a solution-oriented manner in the light of the problems described, and to initiate an extended producer responsibility for the textile sector. In like the example in France or the discussion in Sweden. And they will have a big influence. We know they are led by the Conservative Party, not all, but a lot of the majority. And in Germany, we will have a new government, I told you, and it will be in the lead of the Social Democrats. This will be the new Chancellor, the Green, and the Free Democrats. And the Green, this sure since yesterday evening, will be the leader of this ministry, of the Ministry of Environment. And they wrote in their program, in the election program, and we met very often with these responsible persons, that they want more responsibility in the hand of the manufacturers. We will see. You can see the basic of all important decision makers is to say, okay, more responsibility and more change in the production, the use of recycled content, eco-design, and let us discuss what is the rule of the municipalities, the rule of the private companies, and the rule of the producers. And therefore we are discussing about the market, volume increase, qualities, prices, export, competition, new products. the regulation, because the waste hierarchy has to be done, and to the producement and the standards and criteria. We need this regulation to increase also the competition between that. Not only one producer is doing it and paying for it voluntary and the other doesn't. And the basic of the discussion is the guidelines, the strategy, producer responsibility, eco-design criteria. We are working on it in a group with DIN norm, fiber-to-fiber recycling, and technology. And I don't want to read all of this because it's already only 5 minutes or 10 minutes there for me. But you see, extended producer responsibility, we say it's also a stakeholder responsibility, because it is only working if everybody is playing together. The fiber manufacturers, the designer, the national manufacturers and importers, they are the bottleneck, and the interface for extended producer responsibility. This is in all waste streams with EPR the same, and I think it's also the same in France, where EPR is also in practice. The consumer, of course, to use it and to separate after using, collection, the sorting, the recycling of used textiles. Also the municipalities support the collection system and inform citizens. And of course here they have to monitor and to control all these stakeholders. And for this, we are sure that we need a law. We don't know whether it will be a Textile Act, a Textile Extended Producer Responsibility Act. We think only a Textile Extended Producer Act is not enough. We need more, that the whole stakeholders are involved. And now we are in discussion on concrete implementation models within the context of this EPR, and preparing a concrete legal solution, and transfer only the existing laws from electronic EPR law or packaging law. It's not possible, because the field of textiles are so different that we can learn from it but not transfer. And we met 2 weeks ago, we met in a dialogue forum. We met in Berlin with other groups and had a little symposium, and say, okay, we need the implementation of a dialogue forum. We will start it, and we had already some meetings between the producers and retailers of textiles in Germany, and the waste management operators, and the sorting and who market this used textiles. We met each other and we say, okay, what can we do together? There is to, first of all, to have the same definition and criteria. Everybody agrees that all stakeholders should understand the same terms, and standardized criteria must be developed for design for recycled and recycled content. And there is no discussion, yes, but not a different view between these stakeholders. And also, we are not against it as if we are analysis of the situations, the problems, and how to solve, and how to go, and what are the possible solutions and the strategies. We are also together, because everybody say, okay, we need to use the recycled content, we need to use more collection, we need to use more reuse, and to increase the circular economy of textiles. Maybe we will, in discussion and not with leave this dialogue with the same ideas, but all the time we hope in the same direction, and say, okay, give views and recommendations to the politician decision makers. And what we are and what is necessary and what there are really very important topics that has to be discussed is on the level of the production, of the design, of the retailers, recycled content, eco-design, supply chain, labeling, and what information and communication. And about the infrastructure, we are very clear and not in one mind that there's collection, what kind of collection, sorting in Europe, out of Europe, sorting with a target of second hand in the first priority, reuse, recycling. Is it also chemical recycling? How will be the support of fiber-to-fiber recycling? Who will pay for it? We need mass flow analysis. This is very, very important. Without any database, you cannot discuss for the future scenarios. And quotas. Do we need quotas for reuse, for recycling, and for collection? Then we will discuss, we have opinions and some ideas, and we collected a lot of ideas to have one picture of all, and one central key element is the organization. What kind of obligations? We have a big discussion who will be maybe in an EPR system the owner of these used textiles. Will it be maybe the collector? Will it be the sorting plant? Or will it be the producer? Maybe, or the retailer. In Germany, Lidl maybe is a very, very big retailer, one of the biggest retailer with all for all products, also for textiles, and they have a waste management system and a dual system for packaging. Maybe they say, okay, we are the owner of this, we pay for this, you are only in service for us, and the ownership is in our hand. This is a big discussion also with our group to say, okay, will we lose the ownership in an EPR system, or will we be still the owner? What kind of registration and the control? And of course, the role of the municipalities, will they be in the lead, or will they be only in support role to for explaining, for communication? And how will it be financed? Because you need an add-on financial financing in the future. It cannot be, we think that it cannot be covered all the cost for good and high-level recycling only with the revenues of reuse. Of course, revenues are a big, are very important to cover the cost, but do we need EPR fees, municipal fees, and what is the rule of eco-modulation? These are the fields, and you can see big discussion. And yes, you can find more information in a brochure. It's on our website here, www.textile.zukunft.de. And there is a brochure. It's also in English. Yes, and I say thank you.
Thank
and
you
I will come back to you, I hope. Yes.
Yeah,
Are we back?
Yes.
Okay, I hope I was in my time and yeah.
Thank you so much. It was a really interesting presentation. So many important points that you discussed in it. So I'm sure there's going to be lots of questions, hopefully. Should we maybe, yeah, I mean, if you'd like to, the people present would like to ask the questions, they could do it in the chat panel, or they can just raise their hand and they can have the floor. Here we go. Here's the first one. It's Marianne Haugland.
Well, thanks a lot, and thanks for a great presentation and with lots of information. I'm really looking forward to study. And I'm so happy that you point out that we have to work together all around, all stakeholders. We've been talking about that, and I represent what we in Norway call samfunnsbedriftene, which is the pendant to VKO, Verband Kommunale Unternehmen. And we're looking really into the financing bit, because we're a bit troubled about using the municipal fee for collection of EPR sort of waste. And we would wonder if you had looked into that and the state aid regulations, because it's very easy to sort of favorize some producers instead of others if we use the municipal fee to EPR schemes.
I hope that I understand it in the right way. I hope I answer in a good way. There is a financing. We think that there will be a gap in the future. Yes, a gap with it which cannot be closed by revenues. Okay, otherwise it's no problem. And this gap, how can it be financed? Will it be in the hand of the municipals with municipal fees, or will it be in the hand of producers with producers' fees? Only these two alternatives we see. And this is this discussion. But also, if it is in the hand of the producer, it can be obligation and the system operator be very in the hand of the municipalities, like VKO wants it, because VKO, they also want this EPR system and that the producers pay, but they have the decision and the hand on it. We are a little bit separate, but we are in discussion with them. Of course, we are in discussion too. We don't not know how big this gap will be, because this depends on the quota. If there is a high quota for recycling and a high quota for recycled content, the cost will increase. Yeah. If there is not a high quota and it can everything be as it is, and we need not so big change, there will be no or only a little gap. And therefore we are waiting about of the results of the decision makers. What are the quotas and what are the mandatory targets to be fulfilled after collection? Yeah, I don't know whether I answered your question right. Yeah. Okay.
Marianne looks happy.
Otherwise, please send, if I don't understand it right, please send it via email, and we will give answer and they can share it after it.
Yeah, so that's great. Thank you. The next question is from Linda.
Yeah, thank you, Agnes. It was great and pleasure to listen to you. I'm just curious, if I understand it right, it's many private collectors, and it's a big amount what you collect. What is their business model?
The business model is now that they sort it, and after sorting, they have products for second hand. This is the main business model and the main source for revenues. But after sorting, there remains a part which cannot be used for second hand, and also the textiles, for example, from hospitals or from hotels. It is used for cleaning wraps. Yeah, this is another model. One of our members is the business model only to collect from hotels and from hospitals these textiles and use it for this. But all others are working on in the key element on second hand, but they also have for non-variable and non-markable textiles partners or own. SOEX has an own one for using it, for example, for fleece and for recycling, but not yet fiber to fiber recycling. TextAid and Berg Group, they are involved in increasing this and so on. You know them because they are very, very big. They are starting with some pilot projects, yes. But the main key is really reuse and of course recycling. But with recycling, you cannot cover all the cost for collection. And the charity, they are only collecting. But then they sell these collected, and this is the business model of the very, very small collectors. They have some collection stations, and then they sell it to the sorting plants. In the sorting plants, they pay per ton for it. This is another business model. We have to see, okay, what do you mean business model of the collectors, of the charity collectors, of the sorters, of the collectors for cleaning wraps, and so on. And therefore, we have about 10 or 12 different business models on the different levels of collection, sorting, recycling.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I have a question for you while we wait for other questions, because you have a very high collection rates, which is quite impressive. And why do you think that is? Is it just that Germans are very good at sorting and taking responsibility of their waste, or what do you think the reason is, Agnes?
The reason is we have a very, very long tradition for collection. And you know that we were the first, I think, with EPR for packaging. And in Germany, we used to be very correct and to make nothing wrong. and there is a big feeling in our emotions to do something good. Maybe it's all over, but when it's like this, you find very fast an operator who say, yes, I can do this and I can do this. Now, when we started this discussion about longer living, more sustainability, we have, I think, more than 100 startups who want to work and startups in the last 2 years who want to work on this, and they call me, Agnes, I want to have a sustainable business model. I need 20 t-shirts in yellow. Something like that. Okay. And you know, we are very fast. And I think this is a little bit about our tradition, our using, our handling with environmental issues and so on. And we, of course, it's our target to be all the time the front runner in this ideas. I think it's about this. I think that these figures are really the truth, that the database is okay, and that we are really collecting, because everywhere when you come to Germany, you will find these collection points.
Thank you. And now we have a couple of questions. I see Ingunn Grimstad Klepp is first.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I use your numbers of collection is impressive, but did you say how much percentage is reused in Germany? I didn't hear you talk about that. So that is one of my questions.
That's right. Yes, that's right. And this is a very good question. We know about the reuse rate in total, but not the reuse rate in Germany. Why not? In Germany, we have official collection in public areas. Then it is waste. And then it is going to sorting plants. And then we know the way what is in Germany and what is going outside of Germany. But we have a lot of not official collection. If I go and say, okay, I bring this directly to a charity shop, then it doesn't become waste on the basic of our law. It is not reuse in the official way, because it doesn't become waste in the meantime. It's the same when I give it to my colleague and it's a direct gift. If it is a gift to a public point, yes, then I want to give it away. Yes, we call it Entledigungswille. It is the will that I want to lose my ownership and to give it without knowing who will be the next owner. When I know directly she's the owner, I give it to my sister. It's not this. And therefore, it is reuse, more reuse than in statistic is written.
Yes, I understand that. And we don't know either, because it's a lot of reuse that don't go through any organizations or municipalities. But you could have numbers on the clothes that are collected. That's possible. I mean, you don't know the total, but you could have on the collected textiles.
Yes.
So that was. Even though
I'm not very sure. I think it's about 1 or 2% only of this 1 million. But please, Gro, write it in the email. I will ask Nicole, because she figured out this and know this exactly. I don't want to make a mistake. Sorry.
But I have another
small
comment, and that is, you talked about reuse and also recycle, and very little about how also extended producer responsibility could be used also to extend the life, the use phase of clothing also by first user. And I wonder, when you talked about this with making recycled fiber-to-fiber recycled material mandatory in the production, have you considered that recycled fibers are weaker and because of that might affect the durability and the usability of the production?
That's good. Here we are not the front runner. Front runner is Netherlands and France, and we are looking to Netherlands and France and learning from them, and we're waiting from the results and want to be good, have a good practice. Yes, that's right. We know, and we are hopeful that the producers have more ideas and will give solutions. And we know, of course, with denim from H&M and so on, they are working on it and they can do it. And we will learn every day more. Where is this possible? How can it be labeled? What are the necessary frames that it can work, and so on. Yes, there is not yet a concrete quota, but the Netherlands, they tell they will have soon, and then they are very close to our office here, and we are every week in the Netherlands and will learn about it. Yes, we are not sure now, but we know that this is a target.
But isn't it the weakness of the system that it is a plan that is based on knowledge we don't have and these systems and technologies we don't have, when we actually have a lot of knowledge that is possible to use to make a system that is based on what we know?
Ingon, this is a discussion all the time. What is first, egg or hen and egg? If there is mandatory, we are sure that it will increase and there will be a good basic for investments, because we need investment to increase this, and not to wait, because nobody has a very safe basic for investments. And you are right, what is very necessary that we every year have monitoring and evaluation and say, okay, is it really realistic? Our law, have we to change a little bit? But from my opinion, we have to start. From my opinion, you have to learn. From my opinion, we have to have a good regulation basic. Otherwise, there will not, and to cover the running costs. And we learned it from other waste streams that when there is law basic and it is safe, the investments, the investors are very, very interested. There will be investments. There will be a lot of ideas, and therefore we are waiting. We are. This is our target, that there will be an act to be sure of this and to have a good basic, but not to fix it for the next 10 years, for example. Yeah.
I didn't argue for waiting. I just argued for starting with what we know.
Yeah. We will see, and we will discuss, and we will make analysis what we know and what is only idea and what is in practice working. Yeah, we are starting with this.
Thank you. Peter Sundt is next.
Yes, just a little remark first, that if we remember, Agnes, in 1990s, we joked about Germany and all the park benches from recycled plastics. So the environmental minister Töpfer had high ambitions on recycling, but there was no recycling industry, and you started with park benches, and we made jokes about it. But today, if you drink Coca-Cola, the whole bottle is 100% recycled. So going from park benches to bottles, that took 30 years, and maybe it will take time also for textiles to be perfect. But my question to you, Agnes, is your initiative is much related to the waste management industry. Where are all the producers? Do they have their own initiative, or how do you communicate with H&M and all the other textile guys?
We met sometimes with two organizations, with Textile und Mode. I don't know, you know it. They are members in Eurek, and with German Fashion. German Fashion is the organization of H&M and all the retailers. Yes, and we are in discussion now because they are an umbrella organizations, and we are in discussion and in exam with these two groups. And this Textil und Mode, they have a part of it. They are in connection with research and development organizations, with universities. You can find it on the homepage. And we are also in discussions with these groups. What is realistic? What is only an idea? And what is state of the art? Yes, these two groups now, but we want to extend it, but we are waiting that the federal agency will officially be the platform for this dialogue forum, and to say this is a timeline, 12 months, and in this timeline we collect all the opinions and also what Ingun said. What is already, what can be realized and what cannot be realized, because yes, we want to, of course, to be realistic, but we also want to be front runner, both. Yes, and how can it be financed? Who is interested in investments? And we are, we met with this federal agency last week and say, you have to be in the lead of this forum, like in Netherlands, they have also a forum like this. And she say, yes, if the new government, blah, 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 then we will start with it. We will see. And till this time, till it will be official, we will meet not unofficial, a private level, and to discuss this. And we, last week, Mauro Scalia, he was also here. We met in Berlin from Eurek. And of course, we had also the discussion and changed our opinions to be clear what is wanting, who is wanting what. And on our homepage, I showed it to you, you can find the presentation from Eurek and from all participations of this meeting from the 16th of November. It was face-to-face meeting. A person came from Brussels. Did I answer your question, Peter? You are looking. Oh, it's a question mark.
Always,
I see.
always the same. The more we learn, the more question mark, isn't it? Like that.
Oh.
But thank you. Maybe, Gro, is there any other questions? Shall I try to summarize a little bit?
Yeah, I just see there's some really good comments in the chat panel now, from amongst others from Julia from Humana in Germany. You've shared a couple of links to some reports on collection and sorting and reuse. And also you say that another important reason for the high collection quota in Germany is our high number of clothes collection containers, which is more than one container per 1,000 inhabitants. So that's very impressive. And thanks for that information, Julia. Kai from UF has also shared another report. That's good to know. You can have a look at that in the chats. It compares definitions and systems in Germany and 7 other European countries. So we can share that with you after the webinar as well. Add those links. And Christiane Fagertun says that as for recycled textiles, not all recycled fibers will be of worse quality than virgin. So recycled content is also an important aspect of this. So yeah, that was the comment section. So Peter, maybe I don't think we have any more questions. So yeah, if you'd like to summarize.
I will do my best, Agnes, and maybe if I got it right, it's nice. If not, you have a chance to a last comment or correct me. But the first thing, an observation compared to other countries, is that the initiative in Germany is based within a group of organizations from collection, sorting, marketing and recycling of used textiles, not from the government, the black guys, the black party. That means opposed to Sweden and Sarkozy in France, taking the lead in those countries. And also compared to Norway, where we have several initiatives. The good thing is that those initiatives in Norway, we are talking together and all of them are represented today. So in Norway, compared to Germany, the producers in our project, they are also starting up to preparing for this. So that's a little different from country to country. And in UK, we learned yesterday that RAP, financed by the government, they are in a way in the lead there. And we learned today that Germany, not just in a lot of other waste fields, but also in textiles, is very good in collection. When we're comparing statistics, what is textiles? Because that's not defined yet. So we have to be very careful with all these strange statistics around.
Yes, thank you, Peter.
I'm not quite finished. And we know that the collection is in Germany is well regulated. And compared to Norway, you have several different groups of operators in the market, and so far self-financed to a high degree of reuse. And it seems in Germany, if you don't call it statistics, you have quite good facts as a basis, because if you shall make a strategy, you need facts first. And it was also interesting to see that the potential is about 20 kilo collection. And in Europe, there are all kinds of potentials and statistics, but it's always good to start how much textiles is it around. Maybe we have underestimated that in Norway and some other countries. And as you said, a very small percentage, like in Norway and other countries, is going to recycling. And what you called recycling in your statistics, as in other nations, is not really what we call recycling when it comes to plastics and other products. And even though German lawmakers normally are quite into details, legislation in Germany is still a bit unclear regarding used textiles. Maybe that is for the good when waiting for EU and the flexibility in order to find the best solution for the future. Talking about the future, it was estimated that Europe still have a long way to go and huge investments are needed to make the textile circular. This is based on the assumption that the producers continue to put textiles on the market with lower and lower quality. And we as consumers continue to go for lower quality. Maybe it is possible to change this trend, but first next week after Black Friday. Conclusion was to develop the existing collection further, promote quality and longer life, and stimulate the use of recycled fibers, just as EU require industry to use recycled plastics in their packaging. So it was an interesting conclusion that you have a good system, don't throw that away, but we can build on that. Today, actually, our working group will discuss alternative instruments and measures to meet future ambitions on textiles in a circular and sustainable society. And on your slide, number 17, you also compared some alternative instruments, and you and the ministries in the States, in Germany, all ranking EPR as a key instrument, while attempting new tax for our new governments, you ranked as the less productive. Thus, your group of stakeholders from waste management and even NABU recommend EPR with defined targets also on reuse, guidelines, and monitoring and control mechanism. It seems that German states authorities are pushing for such a solution too. It also seems that the traffic light government, especially the Green Party, will go for EPR solution in Germany 14 years after France. And at the end, you concluded that a green light means a lot of work, not just for the producers, but for all stakeholders. And that's important. It's not just the producers who have to work here. All the stakeholders have to do it. And the legislation has to be tailor-made for textiles, you said, not just copy-paste the EPR legislation from other product groups. I think one of our former hundreds of environmental ministers in Norway said the same, Solhjell, when he promoted EPR on leisure boat. He said, one thing is sure, this system will be totally different from all the other EPR systems because it has to be tailor-made to leisure boat, and in this case, tailor-made to textiles and the textile world. So that was my small comments to your presentation, Agnes. If you have some last remarks, I think we can, after that, close the English section, and then people can feel free to have some last remarks in Norwegian. Have you any other last remarks, Agnes, before?
No, many thanks, dear Peter. It is a great summary. It was fine. And I hope we will keep in touch. I know that we will keep in touch. We are interested in exchange our knowledge with others and learn from each other because this is very necessary to find the very best solutions. And many, many thanks for your interest. And please go write down the open questions in the email, and next days or during next weeks I will answer with Nicole and with Sabine. Yes. Thank you. It was fine, and see you soon.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Agnes.
Da kan vi snakke norsk, Gro.
Ja.
Skal vi åpne for noen siste kommentarer, og kanskje de kommentarene kan rette seg litt til hva har vi lært i dag, og hva sitter vi igjen med sånne store spørsmålstegn som vi kan spørre tyskerne om i neste runde, fordi de er åpne for å oppklare eventuelle misforståelser, eller hvis mot formodning at vi har noen som helst flere spørsmål om det tyske systemet, så er det jo lov til å plage Agnes litt til. Så nå kan vi kanskje, Gro, slippe folk løs hvis de vil gjerne komme med en siste ytring eller en kommentar.
Ja, absolutt. Nå er det åpent for folk til å diskutere. Vi har jo ikke lagt opp noen sånn veldig stor plan for den norske diskusjonen, så vi har tenkt å bare se hvor den leder oss egentlig. Og så er det jo også mulig å rekke opp hånda, eller hvis man er litt genert, så går det også an å skrive spørsmål eller kommentarer i kommentarfeltet, så det er åpent for det. Dette var jo det siste webinaret vårt i en serie på 4, som nevnt da vi startet opp i dag. Jeg i hvert fall har lært veldig mye. Det er utrolig nyttig for for vår del, tenker jeg, i arbeidsgruppen, og vi som prøver å lære mer om produsentansvar, og få se hva folk og andre land gjør på dette området. Og så det jo veldig spennende å høre hvordan de forskjellige landene organiserer innsamlingen av sine tekstiler. At det ganske store forskjeller. Det synes jeg veldig, veldig interessant å lære mer om. Så jeg tror vi har utrolig mye nyttig kunnskap som ligger der ute, da, som kan inspirere oss når vi skal jobbe for bedre tekstilinnsamling og håndtering her i Norge. Så det veldig bra. Skal vi se, nå det noen som har rukket opp hender her. Jeg tror Jens Måge i Iallfall Norge var først.
Ja, takk skal du ha, Gro.
Ja.
Yes, spennende å se hva som skjer, eller ikke skjer, vel mer riktig å si, rundt omkring i Europa. Det som egentlig bare mitt spørsmål litt til Peter og deg, Gro, og dere i den prosjektgruppa for produsentansvar. Vi har gitt vårt innspill via deg, Gro. Altså litt nysgjerrig på hvordan dere skal legge frem, hva dere har kommet frem til, og hva som prosessen videre der. Det var egentlig bare det.
Takk. Så vi hadde et veldig fint innspillmøte med deg og Kåre i Avfall Norge. Så det veldig nyttig, og vi kommer til å ta det med inn når vi skal skrive anbefalingen vår. Så tanken jo at vi nå skal diskutere litt videre. Vi har 2 arbeidsgruppemøter igjen i sammen med arbeidsgruppen vår. Hvor vi skal diskutere, som Peter nevnte i dag, så skal vi se på andre potensielle virkemidler i stedet for produsentansvar. Så vi skal vurdere alle alternativer, for å si det sånn. Og så skal vi prøve å se om vi har en felles retning for prosjektet videre, altså når vi skal skrive anbefalingen vår. Skal vi se, nå ser jeg Jens datt ut der litt, men skal vi se. Hei, du datt ut igjen, så jeg vet ikke hvor mye du fikk med deg, men jeg bare sa at vi skal i hvert fall ha 2 arbeidsgruppemøter til, og så skal vi skrive en anbefaling til styringsgruppen, og den skal jo være ferdig rundt 15. desember. Så det blir spennende og intenst arbeid nå fram mot midten av desember. Da. Så det planen. Var det svar på spørsmålet ditt, Jens?
Ja, fint.
Så bra.
Men vil dere invitere til noe gjennomgang før dere på å si, hva tanken med hvordan vil dere kommunisere dette ut?
Ja. Nei, vi må jo først gjøre, tenker jeg, ferdig prosessen før vi ser hvordan vi kommuniserer den ut videre. Så det blir jo en plan. Vi har jo tenkt at denne anbefalingen selvfølgelig skal brukes videre i arbeidet vårt med å kommunisere ut. Så men vi tenker jo at vi først må lande den anbefalingen før vi legger en detaljert plan for hvordan vi skal formidle den ut i etterkant. Da. Så den vil jo bli tilgjengelig etter hvert. Linda?
Ja. Takk. Jeg vil jo bare det en litt sånn kommentar fra siden i forhold til styringsgruppen som arbeidsgruppen jobber på oppdrag av. Så synes jeg prosessen som også beskrevet i Tyskland i dag, jeg får mange samme vibbene, altså hvordan prosessen har blitt jobbet i arbeidsgruppen og har ivaretatt veldig mye av det som blitt, og som diskuteres uavhengig hvem som diskuterer det, ivaretatt i arbeidsgruppa. Det synes jeg veldig betryggende og veldig fint, så jeg synes det må bare kommenteres. Og så synes jeg også dette med tallgrunnlaget, det et ganske komplisert bilde. Det å ha god nok tallgrunnlag, det en kjempeutfordring, så det noe som vi må bare ta med oss, men det tydelig også noe som de andre landene sliter med. Så jeg vil I hvert fall si på vegne av styringsgruppen i forhold til de webinarene som blitt kjørt, og den prosessen som kjøres, så det en god tillit. Styringsgruppen består av både Virke og Norsk Industri, TK og NF&TA, så jeg tenker at det veldig fint. Og så det veldig spennende den siste innsatsen som nå gjøres, før vi på en måte har en ferdig rapport. Og jeg enig, Jens, det klart at den skal kommuniseres på en god måte. Og så det ingen plan PT på hvordan vi skal ta den videre, men det skal vi lage. Sånn at det skal gå tilbake igjen en tilbakemelding til hele næringen. For det har vært viktig hele veien, og det at de skal ha bredt eierskap og forståelse for hva det arbeidet her har gått ut på. Så det var mer en kommentar fra siden. Tusen takk.
Gro, mens du tenker så som nøytral gamlefar, så vil jeg jo si at det mangfoldet vi har i Norge av prosjekter kan kanskje virke kaotisk, men det veldig fint at vi har det mangfoldet, og enda finere i Norge at disse grupperingene av innsamlere, Avfall Norge, samfunnsbedrifter og Oslo Met, her det mange miljøer som jobber, og det jo også et speilbilde av hvor komplekst dette som Agnes snakket om. Dette ikke noe quick fix og en dimensjon, det veldig mange aktører involvert, og det veldig fint at det flere prosjekter, selv om vi kanskje tråkker litt på hverandre tærne av og til, men vi snakker sammen, og det må jo også være fortsettelsen at det en dialog. Og jeg tror det unike med Norge at vi ikke bare store i kjeften, men vi har 2 ører. Så det får vi veldig mye feedback på fra de andre landene, at vi vil gjerne lytte til Tyskland og England i går, og Sverige og Frankrike. Og så hele denne prosessen nå jo i helvete, hva dette produsentansvaret, hva betyr det? Så lærer vi fra Frankrike og Sverige, som har laget mange gode og dårlige systemer og ideer ute, og så trekker vi det inn til oss, og så tenker vi litt selv, og så må vi ha en dialog alle sammen for å finne ut hva best for Norge. Skal vi vente på en telefax fra Bryssel og bare kopiere det, eller skal vi ha noen egne meninger her, og hvordan blir dette til slutt? Men summen av alle de gode prosjektene som mange av dere involvert i, og forskningen, og så ligger ikke vi sist i klassen i Europa, tvert imot så vi liksom på hugget, og da kan vi kanskje gjøre det beste ut av dette i Norge, hva som best for næringslivet og alle som involvert, og for miljøet helt til slutt, for det jo miljøet vi skal gjøre noe med. Fordi tekstil ikke den beste gutten i klassen når det gjelder det globale miljøet, men her har vi nå sjansen til å rette på en del av det, dels gjennom produsentansvar, dels gjennom andre virkemidler. Så det ser kanskje litt kaotisk og sært ut, Jens, men vi sitter i samme synkende båt alle sammen, så her må vi bare samarbeide og prøve å ro den samme veien.
Det var liksom blanding av positiv og negativ, den siste budskapen ditt der, men det var fint, Peter.
Vi påstår likevel.
Det veldig bra. Ja, absolutt, la oss sette miljøet først, sier Jens i chatten, det veldig bra. Da har vi 1 minutt igjen av webinaret vårt. Jeg tenkte kanskje vi bare skal avrunde før det sklir helt ut. Men takk for nok et kjempefint webinar. Jeg har lært masse i dag, jeg håper dere har gjort det også. Så vil webinaret bli tilgjengelig på YouTube-kanalen vår ganske snart, og i etterkant så kommer vi til å sende dere alle disse rapportene vi har fått tips om i chattekanalen og presentasjonen til Agnes, sånn at dere kan gå litt mer i dybden i etterkant hvis dere har lyst til det. Og så håper jeg vi får til noe mer spennende i 2022 også, at vi ses her på nett eller i andre steder. Men tusen takk for i dag, alle sammen. Da snakkes vi. Ha det!